Hello and good afternoon. My name is Sigfredo, and I'm going to be talking today about the race between aviation giants. So, aviation giants, what I refer about that, are going to be your major manufacturer of airplanes in the world that have a high impact in basically in the amount of airplanes that we see on a daily basis in the airports and basically what we use as transportation as well. Here, you guys are seeing a picture of one of the biggest airplanes ever made by Airbus. It's going to be the Airbus A380. It's actually houses anywhere from 400 to 700 people. Capacity. Here you guys have the iconic Point 747 made in the 1970s, also an iconic image. The Point 747 is actually the presidential airplane. There's two identical airplanes made, two identical to the 747 200s. What you guys are looking here are going to be a picture of the 747 100. This is the first line 747s that came out in the 1970s. I also want to go ahead and touch a little bit of information about each company and what each company stands for and what they're up to today. So first, we're going to start with Boeing. Boeing was the first aerospace company to work directly with the government since World War One, according to John Newhouse in his book Airbus versus Boeing. Boeing was started in 1915 by William Edward Boeing, as well as Boeing is highly interested in the space industry. So Boeing's been working alongside, together with NASA for a long time now, for a few decades, and helping NASA get stuff built in reference to basically right now they have a contract with NASA about with the Artemis mission going to the moon. So Boeing is being, anything that has to do with flight, Boeing has always been there throughout generations. Boeing is also made in the USA. It's made in their Seattle, Washington plant, which by the way is the biggest plant by space. It's actually the biggest building in the world by space. Is held by Boeing since they built this massive plant in Seattle, Washington. Um, Another cool fact about Boeing is that when the actual race between Boeing and Airbus started in the late 1970s and early 1980s, according to John Newhouse in his book Boeing versus Airbus, Boeing hold over 62% of the aviation market. That is well above average, well above the half at that time. Obviously, nowadays those numbers have down significantly because of the advancement in technologies and the investment in airplanes and other companies coming to the market as well, offering different things, not only commercial travel, but also cargo travel and potentially private travel. Another thing that I find really interesting about Boeing is Boeing airplanes do not have, they're well known for having what they call a yoke. It looks very similar to the steering wheel, but it's not. It's actually it's just a steering column that steers your elevators and ailerons at all times. And then you have a separate steering wheel to the left of the pilot hand that they use to taxi along the way. So basically, whenever you're in the ground, that yoke or steering wheel, if you per se want to call it, is not working. So what works is the steering wheel that they have in the left hand to turn the front wheel of the airplane. I find that really cool. So let's go ahead and talk about Airbus. So Airbus is an European company established in 1970 with the financial help of multiple European countries. So Airbus was not founded by any private company. It was actually a collaboration between European countries like France, Germany, Britain, all these countries in Europe that were interested in starting to play a big part of the economic and over aviation. One of the main things that Airbus is known for is for making wide body aircraft. And all this refers back to the book Home at Airbus by A. Version and Victoria R. One of the major difference, again, we're going to talk about the steering systems in these big manufacturer airplanes that are so different to each other, but ideally end up doing the same kind of work. So another big difference between Boeing and Airbus is that Boeing has a yoke. Airbus has what they call a joystick. Now, why is this interesting? This is interesting because to be able to provide sufficient training. Every pilot has to be trained in flying this any kind of Airbus plane, either with their left or their right hand, because of for obvious reasons, depending on where they're sitting in the airplanes, if there's an emergency or anything like that. The reason for that being is that, for example, with Airbus, I mean, for pilots with Boeing, you don't have a joystick, you have a joke, so you ideally fly an airplane with two hands. When you're flying on Airbus, the pilots are only flying the airplane with one hand connected to a joystick. Another thing that I find really interesting is that just recently Airbus in the last, I want to say 20, 30 years, Airbus just started working with the military industry. They also as well as Boeing, they also have contract with the military industry in Europe, things like that. One of the key players in the military industry that is made by Airbus is going to be the European Typhoon. So this airplane is a Eurofighter. It is super advanced, one of the best air-to-air fighters that Europe currently owns. That's made by European companies in European soil. For all your season, we all know that they have other arsenal, but the Typhoon is the game player here for Airbus. They also make cargo airplanes. That are propelled by propellers and turboprop engines. Very fuel efficiency, very fuel efficient. Very similar to the C-130 cargo airplanes per se. Um, I believe that, and this is going to be 100% my opinion. This is both companies are superior in what they do. Both companies been doing this for a long time. I have flown in both Airbus and Boeing, and they both deliver you and take you to your destination safely. They both have parameters of safety that are highly scrutinized before any of these airplanes come out to service us, the consumer, if we're talking about commercial airlines. I definitely cannot pick one for the other. I like them both. I believe that each has different um, things they bring to the table as fuel efficiency, space, distance, different fuel systems they can use in their airplane. So all this play a big part in industry because now we're moving into more safe and efficient fuel systems for airplanes. So, but I appreciate you guys your time. I hope you guys enjoy my presentation. And last but not least, are going to be if you guys are interested in finding out my citation, what I got my information for are going to be here. These three major citations. Thank you very much. You guys have a good evening. Bye.